busy new towns. Not all Western settlers became farmers. Many people lived in towns. Miners, store owners, and surveyors are just a few examples of townspeople. Boom towns were fast-growing towns whose population seems to explode overnight. Many boom towns grew as a result of the gold rushes and the building of the railroad. Cities such as San Francisco and Dawson City started as boom towns. Rail and mining towns. Many of the original towns in the West were along the railway line. The railway brought thousands of settlers west. It also connected mining towns and farming communities to markets in the East. Crops that were grown in the West and minerals that were found, they were shipped to the cities in the East where they were sold. Tools and other supplies from eastern cities came by railroad to the West. As more and more businesses became involved in selling goods, new towns formed all over the West. Here today, gone tomorrow. Western towns were built quickly, and many of the buildings were very unstable. Natural disasters such as tornadoes or fires could ruin a town in a day. A drought could slowly cripple a town until people simply gave up and left. Sometimes so many people arrived at once that unemployment was a problem. Nearly all Western towns were formed around a single industry, such as the railroad or a mine. If the railroad stopped coming to town, one mining ended, people left quickly as well. Challenges and successes. The early West was called the Wild West, and for a very good reason. It was full of robbers and bandits and gamblers. Many people did not want to bring their families to such a dangerous place. In addition to crime, the farmers who had settled on the plains found that life was challenging and lonely because neighbors were often many miles away. As more families arrived, however, the West changed. Settlers elected officials to help run their towns and sheriffs to protect them. Towns continued to supply steady jobs for people who were willing to move west. Farmers learned how to produce better crops. In 1 century, the West changed from a wild place to one with established laws, farms, towns, and cities. Myth and reality. The settlers had high hopes of finding great fortunes and an easier lifestyle. When they arrived in the West, however, they found that life was more challenging than they had expected. Settling the land took time, and not everyone prospered. Gradually, railroads, farms, mines, and towns began to cover the landscape. Eventually, the West became states and provinces that extended the United States and Canada from sea to sea.